Chris came to me in early 2019 with a demo called Orson. He'd written lyrics for most of the song, which spoke to me right away. I loved it, but he wasn't sure, so it hung around in this state for a while. It was only when we were whittling down tracks for an album that we decided to develop it. It was a bit monotonous and needed a big change at some point, so Chris wrote in a different musical section, and I shouted some words over it a few times till we hit the right sound. That was pretty much it. This song was probably 80% there in the demo, and it was easy to complete because the feeling of it was so strong and specific. Chris has said for him it was about the changing face of London, in particular about Denmark Street disappearing. We've had some memorable nights at 12 Bar and the Alley Cat Bar nearby, and he's frequented the music shops there most of his adult life. The history of Denmark Street is intertwined with the history of British pop music. The shops downstairs sold instruments and sheet music, while upstairs were studios, agents, and managers' offices. The Melody Maker magazine was founded there in 1926. In the 70s, Bernie Taupin wrote the lyrics to Elton John's first hit single, Your Song, while sitting on the roof of Number 20. David Bowie camped in a converted ambulance outside Number 9, hoping to meet the right industry people to help make his break. Malcolm McLaren leased the outbuilding of Number 6, which the Sex Pistols used as a studio, while Steve Jones and Glenn Matlock lived upstairs. And just over the road was the London Astoria, which was demolished in 2009 to make way for the Elizabeth Line. The demolitions in this area for the Elizabeth Line also made way for the unsettling imposition of the Outer Net in 2021, owned by the predictably banally evil-sounding Consolidated Developments. At its cold LED heart is the Now building, which seems to be designed to drown pedestrians in screens. The Outernet's CEO, Philip O'Farrell, describes it as the world's largest, most advanced atrium of content. Designed to capture bypassers, he goes on to say, if you spend an extra 30 seconds in my area, I can serve more advertising to you. The development has attempted to commodify the history of this place into something you can touch and be a part of, for a price. You can stay in session rooms at the Chateau Denmark Hotel featuring industrial concrete pre-vandalized with curated graffiti. Their website features star-studded anecdotes about the location, suggesting things like, maybe you can soak up some leftover Bowie stardust in one of our iconic townhouse apartments. Designed with statement pieces and textured features, these luxury apartments bring glam rock to a whole new level. Indeed. The Outer Net unfurls its tentacles right through what was the lifeblood of Denmark Street. Although there will be venues and some music shops remain, the rich cultural history of this place is not so much honoured as caricatured and repackaged back to you as a consumer experience, rather than a creative one. In the lyrics I wrote, I was also touching on the unjustness of the original inhabitants of gentrified areas being pushed out of their homes, specifically part of the Isle of Dogs becoming Canary Wharf. But that's a whole other story. The London I knew and that Chris knew has changed immensely over the years, and Denmark Street is just one part of it. We met in London. Our relationship, musical and otherwise, is embedded in its streets. London is a living memory bank to so many people. Its surface is constantly evolving as sections are knocked down and replaced. London is full of ghosts in every sense, and that's what this song is about. When it came to making the video, I storyboarded a rough idea while listening to the song. I wanted to be dancing on the roof of a building while the London skyline dissolved and reformed behind me. As usual, it was a little ambitious, so it needed to be scaled back to what could actually be achieved. For a while, I thought I would just go up and film myself against loads of brutalist buildings, a unique and emotive characteristic of the London landscape. But instead, I developed the filler ideas from the storyboard into something more fleshed out. There are the people, whose faces are pixelated. I was playing with a visual device at the time of replacing our own faces with static in all photos, the idea being that essentially we're all cosmic beings. In the Dissolve video, it was my way of showing spirits, or ghosts, and walking memories. There are the locations. All of these photos were Creative Commons images of London. I chose images which felt like my London, how London felt to me, but very few specific locations. I didn't want to make it too landmarky. Inspired by the images of London from Yellow Submarine and the look of Peter Kennard's photo montages, I treated every photo to look like old photocopies. Then there are the moving blocks of light passing over my face. I was very inspired by this piece by a video artist friend of ours, Francis Young, which shows vignettes of a city from a moving train. This merged with memories of various Saul Bass title sequences in my subconscious, and I just started playing with the shape and rhythm inside After Effects. We projected the animation I made onto my face, then overlaid the animation again in post. The final visual element is the pixel sorting. Pixel sorting is a form of video glitch art or data moshing, which sorts lines of pixels based on colour or tone and creates a linear smearing effect. I bought a specific plugin for this called AE Pixel Sorter 2. I filmed some snippets on my phone of buildings near my office in Brighton, which looked like they could pass as London, and started playing with the plugin. It took quite a bit of finessing to get the right look. Black and white feels like the colour of memory and the past, so I made it monochrome. And that's how the Dissolve came together. It's an ode to London, to memory, to not being able to go back to the past and yet stumbling through it by accident while walking around an old city. It's the folding of millions of layers of time in resonant space. So this is the place where we had to meet.
That was brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I thought about it. Something I didn't say super clearly, but kind of comes across, is that I was thinking this kind of redevelopment is a form of classism, because it takes spaces that were once occupied and driven by people from all walks of life and puts them behind a velvet rope. Because I think the artists that are going into this space have a lot of money behind them. That it's not like the platform for up-and-coming people that it once was.
Yeah, I very much did interested by that piece of artwork on the wall.
There was all sorts of bizarre sort of satanic imagery throughout that hotel. It's really weird.
Art for the lizard people, everyone.
There was like there was a neon that says, "We are all sinners." It's like,
Great.
Yeah.
I'm sure you are. Fantastic. Good luck with that. By the way, I met Peter Kennard. Sorry,
Did
I'm name
you?
dropping quite a lot on this
How?
show. Well, it was at art school when he came and saw my work.
Good school.
Yeah, it was. And
To
I was
quote some like it hot. Good school.
Yeah. The Sheboygan Conservatory.
Yes.
But yeah, no, he was great. It was his photo montage stuff's fantastic. And I was at the time doing sort of burnt photographs onto bits of wood, and he was going, that's a bit like what I'm doing right now. Is it, Peter? Ooh. But yeah, obviously I'm not an artist anymore. I've stopped.
I first saw Peter Kennard's work at the Tate Modern. It was great. Just like going through there, they had a temporary exhibition, and it was just one small room, and it was lined with his photographs, and they're brilliant.
Because it's very much the it's the CND imagery and the whole, that political stuff. I mean, that all comes from the 20s as well. I can't remember the photo montage stuff from the Weimar Republic
I can't remember names right now either.
No, nor can I. Sorry, maybe you can. But no, but thanks for that. That was really interesting. And it's I thought you might find it interesting too.
Marcus Stuff said he bought a Yamaha SY35 in Denmark Street years and years ago and had to get it home on the underground.
Oh wow, lovely.
It must have been quite big.
I mean, we were in Denmark Street last year. We saw the opening of the Roland store, which is great. It's good that there's a new music store opening there.
The music stores that are there are thriving, and it's really great that they've kept them. It just feels like they've been kept as a vestigial notion rather than as the thumping heart.
Yeah, I had a really sad, have got a heartrending, it's painful for me anyway, story about Denmark Street. Well, around the, it's actually Charing Cross Road. It was a music shop. I was walking home from work one day, and I popped in, and there was an Odyssey Mark 1 for sale there,
wow.
a little white one, and it was there, and they wanted 250 quid for it.
What year was this?
That was 2003 or 4,
Wow.
and I was utterly broke.
Oh.
I know. 250 quid.
Oh, well.
Oh, God.
Well,
But hey, we've got the Korg, the Carp Odyssey now, and I had to get the white-faced version of it with the coloured knobs because just
great.
just to make myself feel better. But
Yeah.
so I did. Yeah.
If you want to learn more about, there's a really good video by this guy called John Rogers. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him.
Do you know John Rogers?
You can explain who John Rogers is.
John Rogers is a sort of psychogeographer, videographer, blogger person. He does videos about walking around London. And I first encountered him maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I just stumbled on a video and he was walking up the road I walked to school on. And I was just like, what? And I just started watching his stuff. And it's absolutely brilliant.
It's great.
Really nice. And all about the history and the soul of the place, and he goes to the not touristy places at all and we get all kinds of interesting stories about bits.
What's his favourite bit? That sort of edge of the
Edgelands.
edgelands. Yeah,
There's a thing of Edgeland. He does one of his longest videos. He walks up the River Lee all the way from the centre of London up to way beyond Waltham Abbey, and I think and it's like a sort of like massive 10-hour walk. It's not a 10-hour video. I think it's about 45 minutes, but it's magical. It's just it really good stuff. Yeah, psychogeography.
So I'm recommending a video by him that he talks about the campaign to save Soho and to save Tin Pan Alley, and it's from 2015, so it's kind of an archival documentary now of what people were trying to do to save it at that time. And it's nice to see.
I'd really like to get John Rogers to come down here and do New Haven.
Oh yeah, we are all edgelands.
Because this is edgelands. We've got all kinds of industrial stuff happening.
Yeah.
We've got the port.
And the countryside.
We've got the scrap heap. We've got the countryside.
I love
We've got
the
the
scrap
beach.
heap.
We've got the river. There's a lot of stuff here.
There is.
It's an interesting...
We should reach out to him.
Maybe we should do it.
Maybe we should give him one of our...
Maybe we should go for a walk.
Maybe we should go for a walk.
No, you can give him a shout.
You can see how much like the creative neurons are firing in the studio at the moment. Everything is possible.
Yeah.